Okay. Hello, everyone. Nice to see you all. Hey, Tim. Nice to see all the people that we see every month. Hi, Rose. Riza, is that how you pronounce it? Oh, sorry. I got you muted. There you go.
It's Risa. Risa.
Risa.
Yeah.
Yeah, me.
All right. Hi.
How do we, hey, thanks. How do we give you that prayer that you're going to bring to the shaman that you're going to with prayer?
Okay, so before we started the class, I put some links in the comments.
Oh,
And
okay.
and one of the links I put in there was if you want a prayer request. Okay.
Okay.
And all you have to do is click that link and go to the page and it'll just give you a little form to fill out your name and what your prayer request is. You don't have to say anything if you don't want to, but then just submit it and we pray for those people that submit them every day. Like as I receive them, we pray for them and basically just connect them to this divine light. But then when we go to Scottsdale and we go to this huge grid of like the energy of the Holy Spirit, it's like, there's two or more gathered and it's the energy is just huge. And we pray for people there too. And just yesterday, we found out that we had prayed for some girl with breast cancer and the cancer just disappeared, right? I didn't even know it. We were just met with her friend that requested the prayer, but I brought this person into this prayer circle. And I don't know if that's what healed it or not, but there's been multiple healings of cancer and things that are just, miraculous. But
I
all
thank
we're
you
doing
so
is
much for
connecting
doing
again.
this.
Uh-huh. No worries.
Thank you so much. It's just been really wonderful. I've been coming to these. I wish I was closer to you, but I'm
Yeah.
in North Carolina. Yeah.
Well, we are having we're going to have a live event in June, I think, in Southern California for a day, which is where everybody can sit in the energy together, which you don't get quite as effectively on YouTube, but or on Zoom, you know. It's a kind of a different experience, but we'll
Thank you so
just
much.
stay on our list and we'll keep you posted.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So again, my name is Jim McCarthy, and today's class is on Are You at War? And it's kind of a funny topic. If you look at our last few topics, there was one on abundance, and then there was one on resistance because that kind of blocks your abundance, and there was one on guidance because that if you're not connected to your guidance, it's because we're in resistance or blocking our abundance. And the guides kind of pick out these topics, and this topic was, Are you at war? And you look at the news now, and it seems like everybody's at war, right? I mean, there's just all kinds of war going on. And it's funny because when I was sitting down kind of outlining this class, the first thing my guides told me is there's always a war between good and evil, truth and lies, light and darkness. But both sides fight very differently. Which side do you choose to fight for, and how do they differ? Okay. And that's really about what I want to kind of bring to light in this class is that, there's a way to fight and be at war that is destructive. And there's a way to fight and bring light to the world that's very healing. And it can't be destructive. Okay. And and I remember, like years ago, Abby was working with me one time and she says, the guides are asking, do you want to be a spiritual warrior or will you be a spiritual warrior? And I said, yes, thinking, well, that's cool. And then again, they asked again, and again, they asked again. And like the third time they asked, I was like, I keep saying yes to this, but I don't really understand what it is, and can you please help me understand it? And so then I started being brought clients that I worked with in sessions that were obviously spiritual warriors. And they were here to bring light to the world. That's really what a spiritual warrior is. And in order to do that work, we have to learn to trust in the light. We have to learn that it is the primary weapon of choice that we use, right? We don't use anger, we don't use hate, we don't use resentment, we don't use fear. And, you know, we have to start recognizing when we're at war because we're in an emotional charge. And then we have to like heal ourselves from that. Okay. And that's really what this class is about. It's like, are you at war? And if the answer is yes, like let's say you're in a marriage and you're at war all the time in your marriage, or you're in a relationship, or you're at war with your boss, or you're at war with your kids, right? Those are usually where you're in an emotional charge or you have some sort of attachment to how things should be, and you're trying to force that with your will, with your egoic will. Okay. And that's based on resistance and that's based on attachment. It's not necessarily the type of war that is what we do spiritually. Okay. It's more of, I'm at war because I want you to be different, or I'm at war with my boss because I want more money because I don't have enough. Right. And when you look at that, underneath not having enough, there's a bunch of belief systems we need to shift from lack to abundance so that we don't have to rely on our boss as our supply. Right. So there's a lot of healing that has to happen within ourselves. And that's kind of what I want to teach today is how to start to recognize when you're at war because you're not in alignment with truth and you're trying to change something because you're afraid or because you're upset with someone or something like that, right? But in that type of war, there's always anger, there's always frustration, there's always fear. There's one, not all of those emotions, but there's usually one of those emotions: anger, resentment, fear, frustration, hate, right? When you're caught up in those emotions, know that that's not the type of war that you want to prolong yourself in, okay? Because it's destructive to you as well, okay? And it's based on something that we're perceiving that's not accurate. Okay. So the first step to, like the title of the class, are you at war? Well, that's a question we want to ask ourselves. Not only are we at war, but where in our lives have we been at war and we haven't resolved it? Right? Where have we been at war with our partner, our spouse, to try to get them to be different than who they are or how they are? Right? And or to get their love and approval or whatever, right? But you want to start asking yourself, where am I at war? Where am I stuck in some kind of emotional charge that I don't like, and I need something or someone in my life to be different than it is in order for that to go away. Okay. Those are the wars we want to step back from. And today I want to teach a method to heal that from a higher consciousness, right? Einstein said one time, you can't heal a problem at the level of the problem. Okay. And in spirituality, it means that you can't heal a state of consciousness from that level of consciousness, right? You can't heal anger by being angry and using it as a weapon. It just reinforces it. Okay. So the way you find out if you're at war in terms of an egoic war that's damaging to you is start to recognize if you're in constant conflict with somebody or something. Okay. Are you in constant resistance about something? You don't want to face something. That's actually war. Okay. Because you're trying to make something different than what it is. And usually when that's the case, it's because you don't want to face what is. Okay. You don't want to go there. And by not wanting to go there, you don't heal. Okay. Sometimes we have to go through it in order to heal. Okay. Um, those are two signs of being at war in terms of in our egoic self. Okay. So start to pay attention to the emotions that you're feeling on a regular basis. When you're around your spouse, start to pay attention to how you feel. Okay. When you're with your kids, start to pay attention to how you feel. When you're with your friends or your boss, start to pay attention to how you feel. Okay. And if you feel bad, what you want to do is start to learn to bring light to that, to connect to your divine self, to your higher self, because it's all knowing. It knows what is not true and it knows what is true and it knows how to make the shift. Okay. And as it makes the shift, the emotions automatically heal, the thoughts automatically heal, and harmony takes effect. Okay. So we want to go from, at the beginning of this, the guide said, we're always at war. Okay. There's always a war between light and darkness on this planet. Okay. When you engage in wars of darkness, meaning, wars about whether you're good enough or not because somebody's telling you you're not, or somebody's made you believe you're not, that's really a war in darkness. It's not, there's no truth to it. You're fighting something that isn't even real. Okay. So we want to learn how to step out of that and realign ourselves with what is real. Okay. So, um, when you ask yourself, am I at war? Start asking yourself if you're acting from hate, from anger, from resentment, okay, from resistance, from attachment to an outcome. Okay. But what you want to notice in that is who's this I that's angry or afraid or resistant or attached? Is it my higher self or is it my egoic self? Is it this part of me that's separate and apart from this reality? Okay. Um, and then you simply need to learn, there's one of my teachers, his name is Brazzo, and he's a Croatian, and he basically just sends light through his eyes. He gazes, and it heals. Okay. But sometimes when I'm working with him, I'll get messages. And and in one of the messages I got, it's like he says you need to learn when to rest and when to take action. Okay. And I thought that was an interesting message. I was like, huh, what does that mean? And I just contemplated it for a while. And what I realized it means is when you're stuck in these emotions, when you're upset and you're trying to take action from that place of upsetness, that's a war that you don't want to engage with. And that's when you want to rest. Okay. That's when you want to rest and not be taking action in a place of anger or hate or fear or whatever. You want to reconnect with light and rest in the light and then ask the light to like light up your path. Okay. When you do that, you automatically realign yourself. And then what you'll realize is as you do that more and more, the error and the thoughts associated with it naturally dissolve into nothing. And when you do take action, you're guided every step of the way as to what to do, what to say, and you're at peace. Okay. And that's really the art of being a spiritual warrior is to bring light with you. Okay. To rest in it, let it heal you first, and then take action in the situation. And then you'll start to heal the situation. Okay. Um, okay. Another thing the guide said was to end war means to surrender. Okay. And I was like, what do you mean? And they said, it means that you surrender, meaning like I just talked about. You surrender, you turn to the light and you rest in the light and ask for help. Okay. You don't surrender if you're in a battle with somebody with a huge ego. You don't surrender to their ego. Okay. That's just going to kind of cause a lot of pain and suffering. You step back from that situation and you honestly admit, I don't know what to do next. I've tried all these things and nothing's working. I surrender and I'm letting you take the lead. Okay. And when you offer the situation to the divine or to God, or to the Holy Spirit or to Source, whatever name you have for this all knowing consciousness that resides within you, okay, when you surrender to that and you offer the situation to that, along with all of your thoughts and expectations and desires, you'll naturally see a shift in it. That doesn't come by you thinking, it comes by you receiving new intuition and receiving new information. Okay. You don't take thought, it just comes. Okay. And that's one thing I learned about when I was kind of being trained at this, how to go to war spiritually. Okay. What I realized was the way I would recognize I needed to connect to spirit was I'd have an emotional charge. I'd be afraid. I'd be angry. I'd be upset. I'd be, needing to do something to make myself feel better. And then I realized that, okay, there's something off in me. I need to fix it, but I can't. Okay. There's a spiritual law that, in this world, you have your inner self and then you have your outer self. Okay. Your outer world. Okay. In the outer world, if you want to go, out to dinner or something, you can make that happen. You can just get in your car and drive and go out to dinner and you can control it. It's like, okay, I'm going to go out to dinner. I'm going to order this. I'm providing you have the means, everything's fine. In the inner world, when you're stuck in pain and suffering, you want to get to that point where you realize that this is where I'm at, but I don't know how to heal it. I don't know how to fix it. And then you bring in a consciousness that knows how to fix it. And that's what I want to go through in our meditation today is the step on how to do that, because that's the important step. That's where you basically connect this world to this higher frequency and you say, okay, please purify this and align me with this peaceful frequency, okay, and the thoughts of it and the truth of it. And then you just sit back and you allow it. That's the surrender. That's what you want to surrender to, not to somebody's ego, not to someone that's trying to force you to do something. You bring in the light, you surrender to the light, and then let the light take the lead. Let the divine take the lead. Okay. That's what they teach in the Course of Miracles. That's what it teaches you in the Bible. You know, offer everything unto me. That's what that means. It means give me your problems. And there's a guy, Bruno Grunin, that was a mystic in the 50s in Germany. And he says, if you're sick, offer it to me. If you're upset, if you're full of hate, offer it to me. If you don't offer it to me, I can't take it because I'd be stealing, right? In this world, we have free will and we have to offer and ask for help, right? That's why it says ask and you receive. It doesn't say I'll do it anyway, all right? It just you constantly want to be working with this higher consciousness. And again, in the Bible, it says you must pray without ceasing. Your relationship needs to be with this higher consciousness, meaning prayer is just talking to it and recognizing it's always here. It's not, it never goes anywhere. We go places because we get stuck in charges, but it's always there. We just have to remember to turn to it and know that it listens, right? And it's always listening and it never says no when it can help us. Okay. It never says no. It doesn't say, well, not you. Sorry. Right. That's something we've been taught by someone else that we're not worthy of it, but that's not true. And that's something we need to heal. Okay. So to end war is to surrender, but it really means to reconnect with this divine light and surrender to it and ask it to heal. Whatever you're at war with, ask it to heal it. Okay. And if you ask sincerely, it will happen. Sometimes it takes time, but it will happen. And with the healing comes peace. To try to heal something at war through anger and force, all it does is reinforce that energy, and anger and force and hate and fear never will bring you peace, which is what you want. Okay. Um, and in the Course of Miracles, I don't know how many people have read that book, but it's a really good book. It says atonement as a defense. Okay. And the way the Course of Miracles describes atonement is to be at one with the divine, at one with the Holy Spirit. And when you're at one with it, when you're connected with it, it automatically protects you and it automatically guides you. And it can't hurt you. It's against all laws that it could ever harm you. Okay. Yes. Oh, yeah, I gotta let some people in. Hang on. Okay. I didn't see that people came in. Sorry about that. Anyway, so back to the Course of Miracles. It teaches atonement as a defense. And when I studied mysticism, I studied with Joe Goldsmith, and he said atonement is really at one meant, means that you're at one with the divine or the Holy Spirit. Okay. And so it says in the Course of Miracles says the atonement is the only offense that cannot be used destructively because it's not a device made by you, meaning made by the ego. Okay. The atonement principle was in effect long before atonement began. The principle was love, and atonement was an act of love. Connecting to light was an act of love. The defense is so splendid, then a defense so splendid was needed that it could not be misused, although it could be refused. Refusal could not, however, turn it into a weapon of attack. Okay? Meaning that you can't use light or divine consciousness as a weapon. It only is a healing device, and it brings harmony. Okay? So it's really safe. If you don't know what to do, it's a lot of people they're turned against trusting God or trusting to be connected to this light. Okay. And they think that no, I can't trust it. I have to have control. Okay. And that I that has to have control is based in fear. That's why you won't connect. Okay. And that blocks the healing. It blocks the healing. Okay. The more you can connect with divine light and the more you can offer anything that you're quote at war with, the faster your healing is going to take place. Okay. I was working with someone that had a fear of rejection, and it was a big fear, okay, to where the thought of being rejected made them so uncomfortable that they couldn't be with it. They couldn't feel it. Okay. And so we just kept offering to the divine light this fear of rejection and all the thoughts and all the judgments and all the memories and all the expectations. And that can go back through lifetimes. Okay. But this light knows how it was created and how to dissolve it. And over time, it got dissolved. And all of these things I watched get healed in that person to where, the main wound was believing that she wasn't good enough, that she wasn't worthy. Okay. And when that got healed, she no longer was afraid of being rejected. She just realized it wasn't a match for her. Right? But all of these things healed from the inside. It wasn't something that like it wasn't like a discovery in a book. It just started to shift and manifest. Okay. So if you can start to recognize when you're at war from a place of being caught up in negative emotions or in a place where you have an emotional charge going on or fear, right? And use that as a triggering device to get you to connect with divine light and rest in it and ask for help. Okay. And then let it light up your path. Don't try to think your way out of it. Don't try to make a timeline for your healing to happen. Just let it happen one step at a time, and it will. Okay. That's a promise. It will. Okay. But this is the way you end war. You heal it. Okay. Um, and one thing, again, in the Course of Miracles is by contrast, the atonement, rooting in the Holy Spirit's plan of God's love, truth defends truth without any attack. It protects by undoing fear and error and reestablishing the mind's freedom and invulnerability. It was built into the space of time belief, serving as the final lesson that makes people learning complete. So the way I've experienced that is if I'm in an emotional charge, or I'm afraid to face something. And I take the time to call in the divine light and rest in it and ask it to help me. What I notice is immediately I start to receive help. I start to feel better. I start to get right thoughts or right insights as to what to say in the situation. Right? I remember one day I knew I was going to go into a situation of conflict that day, and I was afraid of it. And so I didn't lie about it. I didn't hide that fact. I just kind of rested in the light and said, okay, I still have this fear of conflict. Can you please help me with it? Can you please take this fear from me and start to heal it and lead me, guide me, and protect me in this meeting today? Okay. And then I just sat in it and the fear started to dissipate. And eventually I became at peace. And when the meeting came, there was absolutely no conflict. It just didn't exist. It was something I was projecting that was going to happen, but in reality, it was either taken care of before I'd even reached it, or it just wasn't never going to exist. And I was just kind of worried and fearful and projecting it. Okay. But either way, it got healed. Okay. And that's all we want. Okay. And, sometimes the divine will have you face fears that you're afraid of. And it's not a punishment. It's if you don't face it, the fear never comes up, so you can never heal it. It's something that's buried in you that you need to face. So know that all of any challenges in your life are coming up for your own growth, and you don't have to go to war with them. All you have to do is bring light with you and then do your best and speak your truth and do as best you can, and then know that the light will do the rest. That's how it works. Okay. It's like, the Divine Mother, she says, offer your challenges to me and ask me to help you every step of the way, and then just do your best. And whatever the outcome is my responsibility, not yours. Right. And that's really when we connect to light, the light has the final say so. Right. Surrendering is very powerful because it means that you're trusting in a consciousness that's higher than what we can comprehend with our egos, and you're allowing it to be in charge. Okay. And healing always happens. And as it starts to happen, you start to witness it, it makes it to where you trust more and more. Okay. When Abby and I go to these healing services, and you see 20 people with bad backs stand up and they're all healed in an instant. You're just like, how did that happen? And what happened? Right? But you realize there's a consciousness that knows how to do it without us thinking about it. Right? It's simple. It's like that girl we talked to yesterday. She said that because she had asked us to bring one of her friends in that had breast cancer. And so we prayed for her. And yesterday she said the girl doesn't have breast cancer anymore. And it's like, okay, I don't know if that had anything to do with it or not, but she didn't know how she got healed, right? So it's like, what you want to start learning is to end war within yourself. Don't make it so personal, like you have to be in charge of it, right? It's bring the light in and then ask the light to help resolve it, even with your enemies, right? And the Bible says you have to pray for your enemies. Why? Because that heals you. If you're at odds with something, it means that there's something in you that needs to be healed too, or you wouldn't be having that in your life. Okay. And so praying for your enemies is extremely important because when you bring light to that relationship and you ask the light to harmonize and heal your relationship, it heals you and them. And if that relationship isn't a match for you, it'll just gently dissolve it and bring one in that is. Okay. I've worked with a lot of people that have been in abusive relationships. And when you look into it, the reason they're in the abusive relationship is because deep down inside, they've been taught that they weren't worthy of being loved. And they believed it. So they've attracted an abusive relationship because that's what they think they deserve. Or they've been carrying a lot of guilt from the past that they haven't forgiven in themselves and let go of. So they attract relationships that punish them. And what they're doing is they're falsely punishing themselves instead of just letting it go. Okay. And these are all like little wars that we have that are painful. So like one of the things that one of my teachers taught was if you pray, if you sense any guilt that you don't deserve for your prayer to be heard or answered, or if you don't feel worthy of it, or you don't believe that the divine's strong enough to do it, you need to heal that first, right? And just be honest about it, right? And when you're honest about it and you offer it, it gets healed. Okay, I don't know if anybody's heard of Ho'oponopono, that Hawaiian prayer. Okay, I use it all the time. And today in meditation, I want to kind of use my version of it because it really works. Okay, and I want to walk you through it to where you experience it. And it's not just something that you read out of a book. Okay, and by experiencing it, you'll start to realize that, okay, if you bring something into the light's kind of like a washing machine. Okay. It's like, it's a spiritual cleanse, right? And when you bring something into the light and you surrender and let go of how you think it should end, what you think should happen, what your judgments are about it, what your opinions are about it, what your expectations are about it, and you just let the light take it and transform it, you'll find that the light knows how to heal it much better than you could have ever outlined. Okay. We just have to be patient and allow it to keep healing until it's 100%. Okay. Next weekend, Abby and I are going to take a group to Sedona. And part of what we do there is get people out of their regular everyday environment, because when you're stuck in an environment where there's a lot of conflict, it's really hard to heal. Okay. When you're stuck in stress or fear or environments like that, it's hard to heal. You have to be connected to light to heal. Okay. And so we take people to these vortexes, which are a high enough frequency to pull them out of their everyday environment. And then we just teach them how to let go of stuff they don't want anymore. And as they let go, the light fills the void. The divine light fills the void. And when they come back, they just know that they're not carrying stuff that they had when they left. And a lot of times it heals their intuition. It's a very good place for forgiveness and letting go of things. Okay. So I think what I'm going to do now, if everybody's ready, I really didn't get through much of this stuff, but we'll get through it. someday. Okay. It's hard to do in an hour. But I'd rather just take you through an experience. Okay. So, what I want to do is teach you a little bit about Ho'oponopono in the way that I understand it. Okay. And the way I understand it is it's a way to connect with light and let light come in and let light help you heal. Okay. So I want to walk you through it in a guided meditation. And anybody that doesn't know about it, it's extremely powerful and it's extremely easy to use. Okay. So make that plugged in. Hang on. Okay. So if we're ready, let's just close our eyes and relax. Okay. Healing doesn't have to be stressful. So just close your eyes and take a deep breath and let it out. Take another breath. Let it out. And now just let yourself breathe and just witness it. You might want to recognize that you don't have to take thought to breathe and keep yourself alive. It just happens. It comes by grace. One of my teachers said, I am God breathed, meaning that there's a life force that gives me oxygen and keeps me breathing, keeps my heart beating. And I don't have to take thought for it, and I don't have to control it. It knows how to do it. So obviously, if you're breathing, that life force is within you, and it knows how to breathe you. It knows how to keep you alive. It gives you an abundance of oxygen. So what you want to recognize is that you don't have to do anything except for be. Now, with your eyes closed, I want you to start to imagine a ball of light above your head. You can imagine it like the sun if you want. But know that the sun is self-maintaining and self-sustaining, and it's always shining. It's always there. And I want you to imagine this light within you and above you that's always shining and it's always there. And that light is pure. It's all knowing. It's all powerful. It's all loving. It knows the truth about you. It knows everything about you. It knows what's real and what's not. And it knows how to heal and transform anything that's not real, that's causing you suffering, into what is. So I want you to connect with that light. And the way you do that is just to be present. And some of you will see it. Some of you will start to feel it. You feel a warmth sensation, a tingling sensation. And whether you see it or feel it, just know that it's with you. And now you can thank it for being with you. Just say thank you. This is a part of you that loves you and wants you to be healthy and live in joy. So knowing that, just thank it. So let's call this the light or the Holy Spirit or the divine consciousness. And let's just open ourselves up and let it come in. And let it, through its all knowingness, start to heal whatever needs to be healed in us, mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, and even financially. And then just know that it can and that we're worthy of it. And just rest in this light. Rest in it. Now let's just think of something in our life that needs healing. Could be a relationship, could be finances, could be something to do with our physical health, something to do with our job. Whatever it is, we all have things that need to be healed. And now while we keep the light active, let's take a look at this other thing. And let's notice what it feels like. What's the emotional component to it? Let it come up. Let the emotion come up. What are the thoughts, the judgments, the expectations associated with it? Again, just let that come into your awareness. Let it surface. And then turn back to the light and just offer this feeling, these thoughts, these memories, these emotions, these expectations. Just offer them into the light. Just, I offer these to you. Please take these out of me now. And please heal and transform them into your light, into your love, into your peace, into your truth. And please help me to heal completely. And let the wound come up into the light, and let the light come back into the wound. And give the light, the divine light, full permission to heal it on a mental level, a physical level, a spiritual level, a financial level if needed. And then surrender and allow the divine light to take charge. Okay. And this is where I would start doing Ho'oponopono, which is you can do it two ways. You can say, I love you and I thank you to the light. Just, I love you. I thank you. I love you. I thank you. I love you. I thank you. You can also add, I'm sorry. Please forgive me any misperceptions I have held that created this in my life. You don't have to. I love you. I thank you is plenty. But what you're doing is you're just asking for healing and correction to happen, and then you're letting go. Whatever situation you brought into this light, just let go of it. And then open yourself and trust that the light can heal you, that it loves you. And it knows how to heal you on a spiritual level, a mental level, and a physical level, and even a financial level. Is it okay to leave whatever problem you brought into the light, with the divine consciousness, and give it permission and ask it to continue to heal this on all levels until it's completely healed, and to bring you all of the resources that you need to heal it completely. And even to let go, help you to let go of anything that no longer serves you associated with it. This is what it means to rest in it. Rest in the light. Let the light heal you, and it will help you to take the next steps for your healing in the outer world. Whatever you have that you need help with, bring this light in, connect to it, offer it to the light, and ask for help. And just be sincere, and the help will come. It always does. If you don't understand something, ask for understanding. If you're afraid of something, ask that the fear be taken out of you, along with the fearful thoughts, the memories, the expectations, because it's all interconnected. But allow this consciousness to take it out. And when it comes out, your outer world will change naturally. You won't have to go to war with it. It'll happen gradually and naturally. If any of you are bringing light to relationships, just ask the light to be with the partner that you brought in and to help heal your relationship, help protect you in your relationship. It knows how to do it. When you're ready, just thank this light, thank the consciousness of light for connecting with you and helping you. And know that it's always there when you ask for it. It's always within you. You just have to turn to it. And when you turn to it, it comes alive. It becomes very present. And the way you turn to it is you quiet your mind. You just get into the present moment and it automatically activates itself. The way you do that is just pay attention to what's going on right now. Right now, you have no problems. Right now, you have everything you need. Right now, you're safe. You can always turn to right now, and all these things are in abundance. And the more you can learn to stay in right now, the more you'll be at peace. And the faster your healing will happen. So take a deep breath. When you're ready, open your eyes. We're going to take a 10-minute break. Actually, yeah, about a 5-minute break. And we're going to meet at in about 5 minutes, at about 3:12 Pacific time.
All back. Hi, everyone. I'm Abby O'Neill. I'm a medical intuitive, and I'm going to be leading us in meditation. Just a little bit about how we deal with being at war, maybe with ourselves, with other people, experiencing war in the world, how we connect with light or a divine energy so that we're a little bit protected and we can well survive survive, but also find a different way to combat anything that's negative that could be either feeling like it's attacking us or compromising us or frightening us. When I think about being at war, I think one of the hardest parts about any kind of conflict is we carry it around in our head. We can obsess about it. If we had I have one client who had a fight with her brother, and every session she says, "How's my brother doing? Can I make up with him? Why is he acting the way he is?" That we have a situation in the world where terrible things are happening. I had a friend say to me yesterday, um, if my tax dollars are aiding some kind of war in the Middle East and someone dies, does that mean I'm responsible? Does that mean I'm karmically responsible? And if so, what do I do about it? Is there something I can heal? Is there something I can do? We all feel very helpless. I think whenever there's conflict, we get angry, we might feel hatred, but really underneath every conflict is fear. There's a fear of being overwhelmed, there's a fear of being helpless. And that's the hardest part about conflict because we want to sort of keep it going because we always think, maybe I can do better tomorrow. Maybe I can stand up for myself a little bit better. Maybe I can deal with all the ramifications of this better. Um, I have one client who always asks us to pray for her family get-togethers because there's always conflict. So these are very real things we have to deal with, and we might say to ourselves, well, how do we deal with conflict? How do we really go to war with somebody? The idea of being a spiritual warrior is pretty foggy. And I know Jim just led us through a wonderful meditation about connecting to light. How do we connect to light? How do we use light to be the fighter we want to be? Because a lot of times we have to fight, we have to stand up for ourselves. We can't just not do that. But at the same time, getting the tools for it can seem kind of tricky. So I want to lead us in a meditation where we connect to light, but we also learn how to use it. I think Jim just did a wonderful job of that, where we really learned how we can step into light and use it to dissolve conflict, to dissolve fear, to dissolve our own anger. I want to take it into a slightly different direction. I want us to feel the light in our body, in our energy field. And I sort of want to get across the idea that we can point it at different situations, the same way you would point a flashlight. So, my client who had the big problem with her brother, what we were doing was sending light to the brother. Uh, my friend who worried about the situation in war, I think the answer of my guides was we can't really send light to the war. I mean, I think we're not really at that level. I have to tell you, I wouldn't recommend sending light to a war. Because it's hard enough to send light to a smaller thing. We can see results sending light to a smaller conflict. Maybe we can, build up to a war, but maybe not tomorrow. Just because when we send light to something, we're connecting to it. We may have a lot of problems we'd like to solve in the world, but I would like to just send a little proviso here that if we really connect to something that scares us or seems very big, unless we really know what we're doing, we're likely to simply connect energetically. So then we'll pull in a little bit more of fear. We'll pull in a little bit more of anger. We'll pull in a little bit more of feeling helpless. And we really don't want to do that. What I want to do is lead a meditation to where we really understand how we get to light, where we don't mix it with any other feelings that we're feeling, and just put our concerns, the things that we're worried about, in that light. And I want to start out by just a general meditation where we can feel the light. Now, everybody talks about sending light. I think Jim had a really good example of how we really experience it. I think to myself that it's the difference of going to the left brain to the right brain. The left brain is more a question of trying to figure things out with our mind. And that's where I would put visualization. Now, if you've been using visualization to heal yourself or to, as a therapeutic tool and it's working, please don't let me, take you away from something that's working. But in my experience, visualization only goes so far. And I'll explain what visualization is. It's like if you have an illness, you imagine the good cells eating the bad cells. You try every morning to imagine, your heart getting stronger, or you have visuals where you think, okay, this is what I want to happen. I'm going to imagine it happening. There's a whole school of abundance where we imagine something happening in detail. Now, again, if this is working for you, don't stop. It never worked too well for me, but I'm just saying, what I have found that really helps. So, in other words, visualization could be you want to learn how to pitch a ball, so you visualize the perfect pitch and you learn to do it. You really want to create a trip to Europe, so you imagine yourself on the plane. You see the magazines in the little pocket. You see the stewardess coming up with a drink. You visualize it very intensely and you put in every single detail. It's kind of like a daydream where you're daydreaming about dating somebody and you're putting in all the details in your head. But we have to understand that's our left brain. That's our rational mind. That's our cognitive mind. We're thinking up the details and we're slotting it in like we're writing a story. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. But I have found it far more powerful to jump over to our right brain. That's our subconscious. That's the seat of our emotions. That's where we would have dreams, but night dreams where we're like, why was I talking to a hippopotamus? That kind of dream. Like we don't really understand them, right? It's not logical. And yet, if we can flip ourselves over into the right brain, pretty much the way Jim was doing in a kind of a different technique, that's where we can really bring in this energy, bring this light, bring this divine energy that we can really use in a very practical way. And that's what I want to do in the meditation. Usually, whenever we're in our left brain and we want to create something, help something, heal something, we're, as Jim would say, we're trying to control it. We're trying to say, okay, this is what I want, and I'm going to go after it. Now, in real life, there's nothing wrong with that. That's great. It works. But in this kind of spiritual work, to be a spiritual warrior, it kind of doesn't work. And the reason for that is that any desire to control will take a little bit of that energy away. The more we can actually surrender, the more we can sort of step into this flowing stream of very, very powerful energy without anything that we would, we can't hold on to anything. It's a little bit like surfing. Think about surfing as stepping into energy or surrendering. Because a lot of people think of surrender as like, oh, I gave up. Or I guess what I want to do isn't going to work, so I've got to surrender. Not so much that. Think of it as like you're getting on a surfboard. The wave is huge. It's very, very powerful. You can't do that yourself. But if you get on the surfboard and go with it, it's going to take you to some amazing places. So, what we really want to do every day is connect to that energy, that wave, so that it is going to take us. And the reason we don't want any resistance is we don't want anything to tense us up to where we fall off the surfboard. We just want to go with it. Remember that as we learn to surf, we may fall off a bunch of times, but as long as we understand the concept of getting into that energy, getting into the light, getting into that very, very powerful divine energy that can totally transform our lives, that's where we're really going to hit that sweet spot. The other thing I would mention before we get into our meditation is that sometimes people struggle with the idea of light. So, in other words, some people are very visual. You might automatically see light. You might see it in different colors. You might really get a lot of visuals. That's one whole group of people that get into meditation. Another whole group really doesn't see anything, but they feel. So, as we're getting into this meditation, I want to say, feel it. You might, as Jim said, you might feel a tingling. You might feel a rush of energy. You might feel a warmth. Pay attention to that because that is you connecting to this energy. Those of you that are old hands at this, who are healers yourself, that really know how to get into this energy, you know what I'm talking about. And then there's a third group of people that usually they will say to me, I don't see anything and I don't feel anything. And then when I lead the exercise, they're like, gee, I didn't know what to do. So, for those of you that might have a problem, I just want to come up with an idea here. We're going to do part of this meditation where we think about times in the last week or two where we really just felt good. We felt happy. We felt joyful. Even just feel safe or comfortable, like we had a great cup of tea or we read a great book. So, how do you feel when you're happy? It might not even be a huge happiness. It might be just a really great afternoon. How does that feel and how does it feel in your heart? That's where we want to go to with this energy feeling, with this divine energy. If you don't think you see anything, if you're thinking, oh, I don't really feel anything, just spend a moment and think about somebody you really love. Think about if you really love your dog. Think about Maybe the dog doesn't live anymore, your grandmother doesn't live anymore, but think about how you really felt about them, because that's a really pure feeling. That's where we want to go with this. We're going from thought into feeling, and the more positive feeling, that can be your bridge into doing this work. So if I say, step into the light or imagine light, and you're not seeing anything or feeling light, just step into that really positive feeling. Try to keep one like in a little bookmark so that whenever you go into meditation, you're bookmarking, oh, I can go into that joy feeling. I can go into that serene feeling. I can go into that feeling of how it felt to hold my baby or take my dog for a walk or hug somebody I really loved. That's where we want to go. Does that make sense? So we're going to start our meditation now. I'm going to lead us through getting into the light, feeling the light, and then we're going to sort of shine the light on some different aspects of our life that might need a little help. Even aspects of our mind where we might be carrying around some stress, some conflict, some feeling of being at war and not knowing what to do about it. So, everybody, if you're ready, I want you to just take a deep breath and close your eyes. We're centering in on our breathing and we're just allowing ourselves to think of only one thing, and that's our breath. We want to take our breath into our chest. We want to take it on past our chest into our belly. We want to take it past our belly, down our legs to our feet and our toes. What does it feel when we pull in a huge breath and just let it fill our whole body? Let's do that one more time. We're not pushing ourselves to breathe harder than we want. We're just relaxing into the breath. Now, with this next breath, I want you to pull the breath in and hold it just for a moment. And the reason we're holding it is we want to be completely quiet. We're not breathing in, we're not breathing out. So breathe in, hold the breath. Breathe out when you want. Let's do that one more time. Take the breath in, hold the breath, let it out. Now we're going to roll our head on our neck. Just let it roll around. What's our goal? Oh, we're just relaxing. So just roll your head. Just let it go. If there's any tension from the week in the back of your head, just let it go. Now let's go the opposite direction. Just stretching your neck. Now we're going to stretch our shoulders. We're going to reach way up under our ears. Stretch your shoulders, let them fall. Let's do that again. Stretch your shoulders, let them fall. Now let's raise our hands. The stretch goes all the way from our lower back, up our back to our neck, our arms, our fingers. See if you can touch the ceiling. Reach up those hands. Stretch, stretch, stretch. And now let your hands float down, but very, very slowly because they're weightless. Your whole body is weightless. It's just blowing in the wind. There's no weight anywhere in your body. It feels light. It feels free. Your hands just float down. Your shoulders just hang because your hands are just hanging down by the sides. Now, if you're seated, I want you to lean forward, lean to the side, lean to the back, and lean to the side. If you're lying down, I want you to just sort of move your hips, stretch them. We go into a little circle here. We're just stretching out your lower back. It's not complicated. We're just relaxing your back. Now we're going in the opposite direction. Again, we're stretching the back, relaxing the back, stretching the back, relaxing the back. Just feel that stretch, that flexibility. Now we're going to sit still or lie still if you're lying. All we have to do in this moment is see how we feel. What do you feel like? Is there pain in any part of your body? Does your head feel a little foggy? Do you feel energy now in your body? Do you feel a little tingly? Are you feeling warm? Are you feeling cold? Remember, there's no right answers because this is you. You don't have to tell anybody. There's no test to pass. What do you feel like right now? I want you to imagine a bright, bright light coming down through the top of your head, filling your body, just rushing into your body, rushing down your legs, your arms, swirling around your heart. If you have a hard time with the idea of light, imagine energy like a wind blowing right through you, pulsing through you. Imagine yourself under a waterfall where the water is just pelting down through you. This is your chi, your life force energy. It's constantly moving in your body. We're calling it in the name of God, Creator, Great Spirit. It fills your whole body and it rushes out from your heart all around your body and it creates an energy field all around you. It's very dynamic, it's very powerful, but you never notice it. It's effervescent like champagne. It's constantly moving around you. The energy is constantly filling you. We take it for granted, but just put your attention on it right now. Put your hand on your pulse. If you ever wonder that you're full of energy, feel your pulse. Constant energy, constant movement, constant life. Now, I want you to go into your heart. Your heart is a generator of chi or life force energy. That's because every moment of happiness or joy gives you more chi. Whether you knew it or not, when you're going out and having a good time, it creates life force energy. So I want you to go into your heart and I want you to think about happy moments from last week, maybe from the week before. You can even think of happy moments that you're planning in the future. Happiness doesn't know any time limit. I want you now to just think about how you felt. It doesn't have to be huge. You might have just gotten a great cappuccino or talked to a friend on the phone. But how did that feel? Now we're going to give ourselves a little bit more energy because there's always energy all over the place. So I want you to imagine, put your hands out in front of your heart I want you to imagine a ball of light or a ball of energy in your hands, just like you're holding an apple or an orange, but it's energy. Maybe you can feel it if you rub your hands. Do you feel a friction or a heat? If you hold your hands like that, do you feel kind of a swelling or a feeling there? If you're visual, can you see light there? Let's just focus on it. Now, this is a gift that the universe is giving you today, and we're going to accept it. So, in our minds, we say, Dearest God, dearest Creator, dearest Goddess, whatever you feel comfortable with, dear Spirit, I accept this gift of energy that you have for me today, this gift of love, because love is energy. So say that to yourself. Now let's go back to that energy in our hands. What does that feel like? Does it have a color? Is it heavy? Is it light? Is it getting bigger? Is it getting smaller? Tell me, what does that energy feel like to you? I want you to focus in on it. Now we're going to put that energy right in our heart. And you say to yourself, I receive it in my heart and in my life. Just pulling it into our body now. Now put out your hands because there's another ball of light in your hands. There's an unlimited amount of light from the universe. You could do this all day. Did you feel a little bit of burst of energy when you did that? Well, now there's another ball of light, another ball of energy right here. What does it feel like? Now, this energy is a gift from the universe to you today. So it might be very specific. It could be wisdom about a certain problem. It could be healing a relationship. It could be prosperity. It could be joy. It could be plans coming together for something you want. It could be a communication from somebody. It could simply be strength or patience. But look at this gift you have in your hands and see if it has a message. See what this gift is. And now we say to ourselves, Dearest God, Creator, I accept this gift that you're giving me today. So we don't leave the gift hanging, we are accepting it. And now look at the gift in your hands again. Has it changed any? Can you feel the energy? Is it different? I want you to put this gift right in your heart. Feel that energy come right into your heart. Now we say to ourselves, I receive it in my heart and in my life. Now we're calling in your guides and your angels. And we're going to send light to some different things in your life that might need a little bit of light. So remember, we were just feeling all this light and energy, right? Again, if you had trouble with it, just go back to where you felt some love or some real joy in your heart. We're just connecting with a really pleasant feeling. Just as we had a ball of light, I just want you to imagine a ball of light right in front of your heart. If you're visual, I want you to pour light into that ball of light. If it's energy, just imagine it full of energy. We're calling on your guides and your angels to help you. So no matter what you see or perceive, we're filling up this ball of energy and light. And now I want you to think of somebody in your life where you really feel you have a conflict with. They might even have passed. It's okay to call someone in that you never resolve stuff with. If you feel you're really at war with somebody, I want you to do is imagine this ball of light and then ask the person to step into the light. So we're not going to do anything because we're simply allowing the light to come to that person. We don't have any agenda. We don't want to tell them anything. We don't want to get pissed off at them. I just want you to imagine that person coming into the light, and all we have to do is hold the light. That's all we're going to do for about a minute. So let's do that right now. We're calling on your guides and your angels to bring light to your relationship with this person, to remove conflict or bring wisdom in any way for your best and highest good. If you're calling them into the light, we're not thinking about our feelings, like if we're angry, we're frightened, we're confused, what we want to say to them, why they won't listen to us. All we're focusing on, and try to really keep this clear, is just that feeling of light. That's all we have to do. We're not getting any answers, we're just sending light. We also don't need a conclusion. You might have gotten some insider communication, but our main job is to put that person in light. So let that light bubble rise up now, right up to the sky, right up to the divine, right up to the sun. We let go now, and we let God or Goddess, the universe, give that person to that beautiful light now. Okay? Let's go back to our heart now. Take a couple of deep breaths. Get fixed in that beautiful, warm, loving feeling in our heart. Now I want you to think of a situation that's either in your future or maybe the past that upset you, that you felt in conflict with. It could be anything from renewing a lease to a meeting at work to a family reunion, anything where you feel you have to deal with some stuff that puts you in conflict or puts you a little bit on the defense. We're just going to take one situation. You might have more than one. Just take one. And again, I want you to imagine that beautiful ball of light right in front of your heart. Pour light into that ball, pour energy, pour good feelings, whatever you're working with. And when you feel ready, imagine that situation going into the light. You don't have to visualize all the people or the ins and outs, just the intention of bringing that situation into the light. And all we're going to do now is focus on the light and keep flowing light to this situation. So let's do that now. Let's call in our guides and angels for help. We're sending light to this situation. Now, again, we're not looking for an outcome. We're not looking for great wisdom here. We're simply flooding the situation with light. It could be in the past, it could be in the future. Just keep flooding it with light until you feel you've done what you can. We're not looking for a solution. Because when you feel you've given it all the light you can, we're letting it once again float up like a bubble up to God, up to the universe, up to the divine healing energy that takes care of everything. So when you're ready, let it go, let it float up. Let's come back to our heart, again, our source of love, joy, light, energy. Just ground yourself in your heart a little bit. Take a breath. Now we're going to send light in a slightly different way. We're going to send it to a place. Is there a room in your house where you feel kind of, you go there to maybe be depressed or you've been sad? Do you go over to a parent's house and you feel one room or even the whole house is kind of dark? Do you go to your job and feel like the energy's kind of blocked or there's conflict there? What we're going to be doing is sending light just to a place. I want it to be empty. Don't think about a bunch of people in there. Let's say you have a child and you worry about them being on the computer all the time. They seem depressed. Let's send some light to their room. If there's a meeting you have to go to where you feel you're going to be very uncomfortable or defend yourself, let's send light to the actual room, not the meeting, but the room. So I want you to think of one place you'd like to send light to. Okay. So let's go to our heart. Let's imagine that ball of light sort of suspended right in front of our heart. Let's just fill it with light now. Fill it with energy. Fill it with good feelings. Now we're taking all that light, that spotlight. Let's fill that room with that light. Imagine that room. Imagine this beautiful light going into the room. Take a moment to think, does this feel dark? Do I feel conflict? Do I feel uncertain? Or calling in your guides and your angels. All we have to do is bake this one place in light. So let's do it now. Again, we are not looking for an outcome. We're just filling up a space with light. If you get a little distracted, just go back to your feeling of light or energy. Just blast it again with some more light. By the way, this really works. It seems pretty simple, but it's amazing how these little light exercises will work in bringing things back to a much more positive environment for you. Now we're going to ask your guides and angels to hold this light in this place so that once we've put light in this place, it's going to stay there, maybe even increase. So just say that little desire, that little intention. All we're asking for is light. We're not trying to control anything. Just fill this with light. Now let's let that go. Rise up to the sun, that place that consciousness just rises up into the light. We're letting go of it. Let's come back to our heart now. Take a deep breath. Now, instead of a ball of light in front of us, I want you to travel up from your heart, through your throat, right up to your head. Now, when we're in a bunch of conflict, when we feel really attacked or threatened, we have a lot of thoughts. They might be negative thoughts. So I want you to sit back and relax in your own mind, just like you're in a movie theater. I want you to sit back and look at your forehead, at your third eye, like it was a big movie screen. And on that movie screen, I want you to start thinking about all the negative thoughts, fears, conflict, it may be even terrors that you've been thinking of lately. Hopefully, you haven't been thinking of too many, maybe you've been thinking of a lot. But I want you to see them almost like they're written on the screen or either projected on the screen. It may be a little scary or a little upsetting, but you're safe in your movie seat. You've got your angels right next to you. You're projecting them on a screen of light. You're all protected by light. So let's just fill up the screen with whatever you've been worried about. If you've been worried or upset, about a lot of things. Just keep swiping the images. We're going to get them all in today. And spend a little tiny moment feeling. Do you feel fear? Do you feel conflict? Do you feel helpless? Do you feel angry? Just keep going, keep swiping. So now I think your screen is full of feelings and images. What are we going to do now? We're projecting light on it, just like the film projector, where the whole screen is now flooded with light, flooded with energy, flooded with love. Your angels are on either side of you there, flooding it with more light. The whole screen is getting washed clean. You can swipe back, the light hits each and every image. I want you to experience this now. The light is hitting each and every situation, each and every person, each and every headline, even stuff from the past. We're full of light now. Just see it blazing on that screen. Now we have one angel on either side of us, and the whole screen turns bright, bright light, and it just starts to disappear. It just starts to melt. All those images are flooded with light, and they're just gone. And we're asking your guides and your angels to continually pour light into your mind so that any fears, any conflicts, any anger, hatred, despair comes in, goes out, comes in, goes out. The light continually washes your mind. So now let's just see all that bright light all throughout your mind. Let's pull it down. Let's pull it down through your throat, right back to your heart. Now, what's happening? The light is spreading out from your heart all throughout your body. The light, the energy, the good feeling. Can you feel it? And we're asking our angels and guides to preserve this high level frequency of light and love throughout our body and keep bringing it into our body each and every day. Keep bringing it into our mind each and every day. We're slowly going to come back to the room now. I want you to stretch a little, breathe a little. When you feel ready, just open your eyes.